Welcome to your relational life. I am your host, Dr. Wayne Thompson. And we are going to continue with our series on living purposefully. Now, in today's teaching, we want to now go a little step further. And we want to make sure that you really garner all of these nuggets that can cause you to live your best life. And so you now know without a doubt that you are not an accident. As a result of that, then you have a right to be here. As a result of this right to be here, you and I have a right to succeed and to be fulfilled in what we do. Now, what is interesting in this process, we have to understand that this is the will of God concerning us. Don't let anything make you think otherwise. And our scriptural theme verse for this series on living purposefully is 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. And I quote, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospereth." And so, without a doubt, it is the will of the Father that each and every one of his children prosper and be in good health. So God's desire for all of humanity is that we will succeed. This means then that if it is his desire for us to succeed, that indicates then that our life must have purpose. I believe that the challenge is not on God's side, because he desires for us to prosper and be in good health. In other words, he wants us to have mental prosperity, physical prosperity, relational prosperity, spiritual prosperity, financial prosperity, and the list goes on. So the problem certainly cannot be with that side of the fence. That is definitely not what he wishes for us. So the challenge is that we think that success can only come through a certain means. Some of us are actually distorted in our belief that only what the world says is success is success. But if you begin to think that success can only be tied to what the world is saying that success is, many of you are going to be disappointed. Many of you are going to be frustrated, because when you look at the world, it only seems to measure certain groups of people as being successful. But success cannot be limited to the handful of individuals that go into the arts, whether live theater, whether performance, whether it's acting. And then again, to make it on the Forbes list of the wealthiest persons on the planet. The two of those lists combined cannot measure up to the population of the smallest island nation on the planet. Yet, billions of persons are constantly seeking to be successful in these avenues only. Well, when you are living with purpose, you come to know and understand that your purpose cannot be tied to doing what others say is success. Because success is different things to different people. And that is because we are all uniquely different. And as a result of our differences, our purposes in life are also different. But if I disrespect myself, if I don't recognize what I have been given, I may lean towards what I see my neighbor doing. I may lean towards what I see another person doing. This is not the manner in which we should be operating. We should not be operating based on what Tom, Dick, and Harry, or Peter, Paul, and Larry are doing. No. If you have purpose, you must then understand that you have been given an assignment from the architect of the universe, and it is imperative for you to unearth that in order for you to have a fulfilling life. This is one of the principal reasons why there are so many persons amongst us who are very unhappy, who cannot be satisfied, who are depressed daily, frustrated daily. Why is this happening? Thank you for asking. This is happening because human beings are not an accident, and we have a specific assignment that we should be fulfilling. And not until we come to the place where we begin the process of fulfilling that can we truly begin to feel the fulfillment that we are longing for on the inside. And so let's be clear. God's desire is for all of us to be successful. But in order for you to know where you ought to be, you must come to know and understand your purpose. That is critically important. Now, here is the billion-dollar question today then. What drives you? You see, everyone is driven by something. Now, some of the things that drives us are positive. And yet, some of the things that drives us are actually negative. As a matter of fact, some of the things that drive us are actually destructive. When we get to this kind of a place, we need some clarity. What drives you should actually be tied to your purpose. And when you are driven by something that is destined for your personal life, you cannot become overwhelmed by it. You cannot become depressed by it, because you have been ordained to fulfill that assignment. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 4 says, and I quote, "Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit." Now, what I need you to understand then is that one of the reasons why there is so much negative energy amongst us, so much fighting amongst us, has to do with the fact that when you allow the spirit of envy and jealousy to creep into your life, the end result of that is vanity and vexation of spirit. One of the things that's driving too many people on the planet is that they are driven by envy and jealousy. And persons who are filled with envy and jealousy are very, very destructive individuals. These individuals are very conniving. And we must talk about this, because if you are allowing yourself to be driven by this negative force, you will never be able to fulfill your purpose. And let me go a step further. This spirit of envy and jealousy can be found everywhere. Not everyone that smiles in your face means you well. Why is that, Dr. Thompson? Thank you for asking. When you're not living your purpose, you are a miserable person. When you're not living in your purpose, you are a negative individual. And as such, you become critical. You find fault with every single thing. And that's a major problem with many of our people today. They are so negative. They find fault with everything. They criticize everything good that those around them are doing. Why? Because they, in their personal, individual lives, do not have any satisfaction or fulfillment. And what is the solution to that? Go and unearth your purpose. That's what you need to do. All of us have been given gifts and talents. But people who are not functioning in their gifts and talents, rather than admire the right work of their neighbor, their friend, their brother, their sister, they end up envying these individuals. And when you are being envied by your neighbor, you need to understand that envy is the prerequisite for jealousy to come in. And a society that is absorbed with individuals that are filled with envy and jealousy is a destructive society. And that is the plan of the enemy, to destroy us. And it is time for us to wake up and recognize that we've got to change the way we go about things. The truth of the matter is, when you are not living in your purpose, you are basically a ship without a rudder, a sailboat without a sail, a vehicle without an engine. You are just there. You have no direction. You have no clarity. You do not know whether to go to the left nor to the right, to the north or to the south. You are a miserable, cantankerous person, and the only thing that you will seek to do is to spread your misery to all and sundry. This is not how we have been designed to live. This is not the will of the Father concerning us. And so we must understand this. All human beings are driven by something. It is imperative then that you come to know and understand and to find out that you have been driven by something that is honorable, that is positive, that is respectful, that is upright, that fits into your gifts and talents, that meets the requirements of God's specific assignment for your life. Then and only then will you become a positive-minded person. And as such, you will then seek to spread that positive mindset to those around you. And so, do not give that responsibility to another person. That responsibility is for you to discover. And my professional work as a mental health professional, a marriage and family therapist, and a clinical psychologist, I have concluded that one of the most powerful forces driving humanity today is that of envy and jealousy. And as a result of this, many of our citizens on planet Earth are becoming sick. You see, envy and jealousy are not properties that our bodies are designed to keep. Therefore, they are foreign and alien to us. And if we allow them to stay within us, they poison our thinking. They poison our reasoning. They sap our humanity. They cause us to become something totally different than we were designed to be. Envy and jealousy has become a cancer that is rampantly going to and fro the earth. And you know what is so sad about this cancer? This cancer can be found in every sector of society. We can find it in governments. My. Oh, we can find it in governments. Every single day we can hear sad, deplorable news that demonstrates those who have been elected to high office are failing the people. Why? Because of this same sour, cantankerous spirit of envy and jealousy. We can find it in business. When you become filled with envy and jealousy, you develop a spirit of greed. And so you don't want anybody else to succeed. So you begin to do things that are unethical. You begin to do things that are destructive, simply because you want your business to be ahead of everybody else. This is a destructive force, and we must get rid of this. this cancer can be found in the church. My. Yes, Dr. Thompson said it. This cancer can be found in the church. And it is one of the principal reasons why the church universally has been losing ground when it should be gaining ground. Because when you look on the fields all across planet Earth, you can see that they are white and ready to harvest. And the question is, why are we not harvesting the fields? Well, one of the reasons for that has to do with the fact that there's too much envy and jealousy amongst clergymen. This one wanting to outdo the other one. This one wanting to compete with the next one. When you are living your purpose, you come to know and understand that we are all laborers together with God. Let's get this clear then. As a laborer, you don't own anything. And so the question is, what are you doing getting up on your high horse like you own anything? It sounds to me like you need to get down off of your high horse and fall back in line and come to know and understand what it means to be a laborer. And this is why purpose is so critically important. Not because God has given you a gift means that you are superior to other individuals. Not because God has given you an opportunity to serve in a high office means that you are superior to other people. Wake up, people. And this is why we need to learn to live with purpose. You see, when you truly begin to live with purpose, you don't get concerned by the gifts and talents that others have. As a matter of fact, you would welcome those gifts and talents. But it is sad to see that amongst the Christian community globally, there is a tremendous amount of envy and jealousy that is disrupting the process of harvesting. You can see this cancer in the home. My goodness. Our homes are being destroyed because of this foul spirit of envy and jealousy. Husbands and wives are supposed to be on the same team, yet you find them competing one with the other rather than completing one another. Well, when you have this spirit of envy and jealousy in your marital relationship, it is a virus that causes you to work in the opposite direction for which you were called into your marriage. People do not get married to compete one with the other. But why is this so prevalent amongst those in marriage today? We are not understanding our purpose. And in the role of marriage, we all have a different purpose. Our homes are supposed to be a refuge for both the husband and the wife, and for the children that will come into that union. But when we allow this cancer of envy and jealousy to creep in, our home becomes the direct opposite. And when this begins to happen, we give room for the enemy to enter into our homes. And it is time for us to wake up and recognize that when this happens, the enemy is interested in getting our seed, which is our children. Our children need to find home to be respectful, to be loving, to be kind. And in order for that to happen, we must understand our purpose as parents. And when we come to understand our purpose as parents, then we will begin to function with the right kind of attitude that would bring honor and glory to God, to family, and to nation. And so, the enemy's job is to fight, to see to it that we do not truly come to know and understand our purpose. Because the definition of sin is actually missing the mark. And so if the enemy can get you to miss the mark, then he has become victorious in your life. When you live a purpose-fulfilling life, you don't miss the mark, but you hit the bullseye. And so the enemy does not wish for you to hit the bullseye, but it is God's wish for you to hit the bullseye. And so we've got to recognize that this driving force of envy and jealousy must be eradicated from amongst us. When we look at the first two children of Adam and Eve, we see where this same ugly spirit has brought its ugly head to pass. And it is not a good thing. And the Bible says, and Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and unto his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? O my goodness. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Well, envy and jealousy, they cause you to miss the mark. So that makes them sin. And so I am saying to us then, we've got to get our purposes lined up so that we will stop destroying one another, but will start to build one another. We will be continuing this powerful series in part 3. God bless you until next time.